Hey, Rebel Rouser. Welcome to Star Wars 7x7. I'm your host, Alan Voivod. This is episode number 1656. And today, we're going to finally catch up on something that I've been meaning to talk with you all about for a while. And, just the way Star Wars has developed over the past little while, it just hasn't quite worked out. But, that's okay. It's always a good time to talk about the Disneyland and Disney World attractions that are going to be opening as part of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the enormous park expansion that's happening. It's going to be opening later this year at Disneyland and possibly still in 2019, but toward the end of the year at Walt Disney World. And a few episodes ago, we talked about an interview that Bob Iger did with Barron'e magazine, the business publication, and we talked about, in particular, his comments about the Disney Plus streaming service and about how Star Wars will play on it from a content perspective. Well, that was only half of the discussion. The other discussion had to do with Galaxy's Edge, and in specific, the tour that folks from Barron'e got from the fine folks at Disney and what they were able to tell us about Galaxy's Edge. And so over the next couple of episodes, we're going to be talking about Galaxy's Edge and recapping the things that we know about this new attraction that's opening, this new land that's opening with multiple attractions. And in particular, we're going to talk about the attractions themselves, the two major attractions that are opening at this new Galaxy's Edge. So from Barron'e magazine, here is the description of one of the attractions, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. They say, in this attraction, Hondo Ohnaka, a pirate, has cut a deal with Chewbacca for the use of the Millennium Falcon, and the visitor is the pilot. The attraction entrance will be subtly marked so as not to disrupt the look of the land. The ship interior will be familiar to even casual fans of the films, down to the 3D chessboard where Chewie lost his temper during a match with R2-D2. Visitors will fly the ship in groups of 6 and see the real-time results of their actions, such as knocking over a spire during takeoff. The flight will be different for each visit. After a ride, the visitor might, say, stop at Oga's for a drink and be told something like, "The boss isn't happy about how you brought the ship back." And this is part of an interactive story-building experience throughout the land that visitors can opt into or out of. Now, that last part about the interactive elements, we're going to talk about that more in a future episode as we continue our deep dive into Galaxy's Edge. But as far as the attraction itself goes and what we just got from that description, first of all, the fact that Hondo Ohnaka as a character has survived this long is a credit to his skills as a pirate and survivor. I mean, all the way from the Clone Wars, working through the Rebels era and into the Resistance era, I mean, that's quite a lot of time for Hondo to be doing his thing. And so, that's a good sign for the character in general, but also for Star Wars fans. Even if you haven't had any exposure to Hondo Ohnaka as a character, well, it's something that you are definitely going to be in for a good time. Let's just put it that way, all right? Hondo is definitely a very fun character, and yeah, I think probably as a scoundrel, nobody's going to top Lando Calrissian, and no one's going to top Han Solo, but, Hondo is probably in a top 5 conversation of entertaining scoundrels in the Star Wars universe. So I think that's a great thing for him to be a part of this whole thing. And then there's the whole thing about this being a group of 6 for each ride. First of all, it creates a very intimate environment, and the fact that there's going to be real-time feedback on your performance means that everybody's going to get to do something on this ride that's going to be some sort of interactive user experience, and it's not just going to be limited to one person where it says the visitor is the pilot. It's not going to be just one person and the other 5 are sitting back not doing anything. I mean, I can't imagine that that's really going to be the case. No, everybody's going to have some particular thing that they're going to have to manage while they're on this ride, this attraction, this experience, and that is very cool and something that we need more details about pronto. I'm sure we'll get them. Actually, who knows? Celebration again may end up being a fantastic place to reveal some of this information, but I have a feeling it's probably more likely to be at the D23 Expo instead, because that's definitely more about the big Disney brand and about the parks, and that's where the big Galaxy's Edge reveal happened last time. So yeah, I would expect more information to be available there necessarily than I would at Celebration per se. And then there's the other ride, which is the Rise of the Resistance ride. And we have details about that from the fine folks at Barron'e as well. Here is what their report is on it. They say visitors waiting in line for this attraction will wind through highly themed interiors that evoke rundown rooms the Resistance has repurposed as a base for operations against the First Order. Groups of guests might be captured, quote unquote, at one point and ordered along by the enemy before making their escape aboard a trackless troop transport. They will see scenes including a stormtrooper formation and one featuring Kylo Ren, perhaps resembling the interrogation scene from Star Wars The Force Awakens. The transport will evade familiar war machines like the four-legged AT-AT walkers from The Empire Strikes Back. Up close, these towering metal beasts do not disappoint. Now, whereas the Millennium Falcon ride definitely sounds like it's more virtual in the sense that, say, think Star Tours, except with fewer people in it and some actual interactivity in it beyond just the whole Rebel Spy thing, right? But, it's all, computer-generated visuals, and there's programming behind it that will allow for different results of things and that sort of thing, all right? So that's definitely more of a virtual experience, if you will, and probably, with, all the wonderful technology that they can use to make it feel like you're actually on the Falcon. So there's that. And then you have this Rise of the Resistance ride, which has the interactive element in a real physical sense, in the same way that, like when you're standing in line for Star Tours and you're going through the environment, you actually go through a physical environment that looks like a, launch bay for a Star Wars related facility. So it sounds like they have that kind of situation here for Rise of the Resistance. And the idea of having the First Order show up, presumably it's the First Order, right? The enemy showing up and escorting you out of line. Well, that could just be integrated into the experience itself, where they just kind of drop a door somewhere and segment a group of people off and say, that's it, you're going this way. And that could just be part of the experience. And then getting to a trackless troop transport, that would be the actual, coaster thing that you get on. And then, it like being able to maneuver you around and give you a crazy experience like that. And that seems like it's much more of a tangible environment where you're actually in a, physical coaster type of situation where you are getting manipulated more than just, a motion kind of ride. And especially because they're saying that there are AT-ATs there are Imperial walkers there, and saying, up close, they're pretty amazing. So that seems like you're going to be taken like right up against an actual physical, not a computer generated Imperial walker, and see, I don't know, maybe there'll be some computer generated elements to it, like seeing stormtroopers in formation somewhere. I'm sure that they probably don't just have stormtroopers walking around in the midst of this exhibit or in this theme park attraction where they're like, okay, every 6 minutes, 20 stormtroopers walk back and forth. I mean, that's kind of fun to think about, but I think that's probably pushing the limits of what they're actually going to do with it. And there's one other element of that description that seems like it would have to be virtual, and I'll explain that one in a second. But first, hey, just, the normal reminder, subscribe, please, if you're not doing it already, so you get this daily dose of Star Wars joy delivered to you without you having even to think about it. It just comes right to you. And also, I hope you'll consider supporting me and all the work I'm doing here, delivering these episodes to you every day, by joining the community at patreon.com/SW7X7. So the other virtual thing has to be the encounter with Kylo Ren, right? I mean, it's one thing to be able to, see a dude standing there dressed as Kylo Ren, but if it's an interrogation room like that, it's probably going to be a little bit scarier and a little bit more compelling if they've got Kylo's face on a view screen and he's able to do, like the crazy, like reach out and maybe grab the trackless troop transport, right? Like to be able to hold it in place and you feel the vibration. I'm thinking of how he froze Poe Dameron's blaster bolt in place. And, that same kind of thing in the, kind of intensity from the interrogation scene is certainly possible as well. Maybe it's, arriving in a similar room or something like that. But, if you're on a big troop transport, that room certainly didn't fit one. So it seems like they're going to have to rejigger things a little bit somehow. But I have a fair amount of confidence that they're going to be able to figure it out. So that is going to do it for our look at the updates from Barron's magazine on the two main attractions at Galaxy's Edge, and we will talk more about Galaxy's Edge and the developments that have been underway over the next couple of episodes. For today, though, that is going to do it, and thank you so much for joining me for the episode as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.